Written by another francophone Senegalese author, Ousmane Sembene, God's Piece of Wood, which was originally titled Le Bout de Bois de Dieu, was published in 1960 as a response to the historical Senegalese railroad strike of 1947. Because of this, the story explores themes such as communism, feminism, capitalism, corruption, political unrest, colonization, violence, rebellion, resilience, amongst many other serious issues. The novel begins in French-occupied Senegal in the 1940s, where railroad union leaders are to decide whether to embark on a strike because of the terrible conditions and the low wages that the black workers have. The community is anxious about the potential consequences of this decision, including Ibrahim Bakayoko's family. Bakayoko, who is a prominent African labor activist, is traveling through Senegal to garner support for the strike. However, although absent for most of the book as he is jailed, his speech and revolutionary zeal fuels the rest of the strikers to push forward. As the debate continues at the railroad union headquarters, the oldest member, Mamoudou Keita, also known as the Old One, acknowledges the workers' concerns but cautions them to consider the potential cost of the strike. However, Tiemoko, a young passionate labor activist, persuades the members to vote in favor of a strike which is set to begin the next morning. Fakieta, though uneasy about the decision, hopes that the strike will be short-lived, lasting only a few days. The book then moves to Thies, Senegal, a crucial location for the impending strike. Thies is home to the railroad company's headquarters and maintenance shops, making the railroad the lifeblood of the town. As dawn breaks, tensions run high among the railroad workers who argue over the strike, with some accusing others of being cowards or collaborators with the French-owned company. However, their disputes are abruptly halted when soldiers arrive and violently attack the assembled strikers, leading to a chaotic riot that results in 8 deaths and numerous injuries. Following the riot, the survivors care for the wounded, and the union leaders, Doudou and Labib, assess the situation and consider their next steps. Meanwhile, Dejin, the French regional director of the Colonial Railroad Company, convenes a meeting with his top officials on how to dissolve the strike. Dejin proposes creating a rival union and implementing a tactic to starve the striking families into submission by restricting the shopkeepers from selling to them, exacerbating the already tense situation. The strike's psychological toll affects not only the union members but also their families, who face severe hardships. With shopkeepers refusing to sell to them, the women must find creative ways to feed their children. In Dakar, Ramatoulaye, an initially timid woman and matriarch of a large household, tries to negotiate with the shopkeeper and her brother Mabig, a French sympathizer, for rice but is unsuccessful. However, other family members manage to obtain the food and water from elsewhere. However, their brief joy is shattered when Mabig's prized ram Vendredi eats the rice meant for the children, pushing Ramatoulaye over the edge and slaughter the ram in anger. The police attempt to arrest Ramatoulaye and collect the ram's remains, but the community women armed with clubs and flatirons defend her, leading to a fierce confrontation with the police. The chaos escalates again when a fire intended to scare off the mounted patrols accidentally spread, destroying several homes, including Mabig's. Ramatoulaye eventually surrenders at the police station, where the chief orders firemen to disperse her supporters by horses, resulting in the tragic death of Wudiambaye, a widowed mother of 9. The local imam attempts to shame the women into withdrawing their support for the strikers, demanding that Ramatoulaye apologize to Mabig for killing his ram, Vendredi. However, even though brutally beaten, the grief-stricken Ramatoulaye still refuses to relent. The tragic death of Wudiambaye deeply affects Ramatoulaye to the core. The blind old man, Fakieta ironically himself, becomes the next target of the jaws of the strike. When militiamen arrest him without reason, dragging him from his bedroom where he was on a spiritual retreat, as Ajibiji and Nyakoro try to defend Fakieta, they are injured by the police, with Nyakoro suffering fatal injuries. But Fakita remains defiant and a source of inspiration for the cause even in prison.
Just like Ramatulai.
In Thies, the situation is equally tense. With no other options, women have sold their valuables to buy food and are now foraging for whatever they can find. Labib teams up with Panda, a forward-thinking unmarried woman, to help distribute rations and manage union affairs. Panda proves to be a capable leader, earning the respect of both men and women. Despite the strikers' growing anxiety and hunger, they finally have a breakthrough. Although there are some severe consequences that ultimately come with the strike, as Bakayoko's mother once feared, such as displacement, injury, imprisonment, and even death, Ousmane Sembene ultimately ends the story with the relative success of the strike, and the government is forced to give in to the demands of the strikers by giving them better wages and working conditions. After the women play a crucial role in the success of the strike by marching for 3 days from Thies to Dakar, something that recovers the strength, cultural identity, and fundamental humanity of the Senegalese people, which symbolically marks the beginning of the end of colonialism in Senegal and Africa. Motifs and message. God's Bits of Food is based on the 1947-1948 railway strike in Senegal, which was a real event. Sembene drew inspiration from this historical context, but also took creative liberties to enhance the story and characters. While the novel is not a direct retelling of the strike, it captures the spirit of the era and the struggles of the workers. While the notion takes an overcast gaze at the exploitative nature of colonialism and its impact on Senegalese working society, God's Bits of Food is a book that is heavily inspired by the communist ideologies of Karl Marx, the Communist Manifesto published in 1848. The book showcases on how a collective group of people can achieve greater things by Marxist ideology, which is reflected in the novel's themes and character development. The author explores communist themes such as class struggle, where you look at the conflict between the rail workers and the French colonial authorities, alienation as the workers feel a disconnection from their labor, culture, and community, solidarity that comes through the unity and collective action among the workers. Contrary to the belief of men always being in the forefront, the story puts the strong women who take up the rebellious leadership roles usually accustomed for men. In response, the book has a greater appreciation of the role of women than most African classics when it comes to struggle, society, economy, and politics. While not exclusively being a feminist telling, Sembene highlights their contribution and agency, challenging traditional patriarchal norms. In response, the book has a greater appreciation of the role of women that most African classics don't have when it comes to struggles, economy, and politics. The resistance of the women who engage in the acts of resistance, such as protests, boycotts, and sabotage, demonstrating their determination and courage. And through their actions, women challenge traditional gender roles and patriarchal norms, demanding respect and equality. Women like Penda take on leadership roles, mobilizing and organizing the community. They also show remarkable solidarity, supporting each other and the striking workers, often at great personal risk regardless of gender. Sembene's portrayal of women's roles in the struggle is significant as it gives voice to the women's experiences and perspectives that has often been overlooked in most historical accounts about African colonialism, such as the challenges of feeding and taking care of their children in times of starvation. God's Bits of Food challenges traditional gender stereotypes, showcasing women's strength, agency, and leadership by centering on women's experiences. Sembene creates a more nuanced and inclusive narrative, acknowledging their vital historical contribution to the fight against colonialism and oppression.
If you want to see more doodle summaries of classic African books like this, please let us know any books we can do by sharing your comments and ideas below. For more enlightening material about African literature, old and new for your college studies. So if you loved watching Memsi Africa and want to see more, please do not hesitate to press like and subscribe. So until we meet next time, Thanks for watching Memsi do the summaries. Thank you.